Hello YouTube, this is DZ Maven again, and today I'm going to be taking a look at one of my older kits. I built this one a couple years ago. This is the real grade Gundam Exia from Gundam 00. I have pretty much all of the 00 Gundams in a real grade, and probably about time I start getting to reviewing those because there's some new stuff coming later in the year that I want to show off as well. So I need to review these. So I guess for this month I'm going to be reviewing 00 Gundam real grades. So anyway, here's the first one. It's the Gundam Exia. So let's take a look at it here. So there you can see it's all right there with all of its equipment on there. Let me get you spinning. There we go. So we'll look at it as I talk about it here. So let's get right down to it. Details here. Overall, this kit is very, very good looking. There's lots of detail throughout the kit. Plenty of lining. If you're into lining, there's lots of lining on this kit here. You do have some nice different shades of color on this kit. Not quite as various as some of the early real grades, but it does have some. You probably can't tell too well in the video, but there are two shades of blue. You can probably see it in the shoulder there a little bit there. There are two shades of white. There's a bright white and there's a sort of a off-white color, which you can see on the beam saber right there. I do get gray. The reds are one shade of color here. But the really awesome thing with the real grade Exia is you do get chromed blades with this kit here. I believe with the master grade, the normal master grade does not have chromed blades, but if you get the, I think it's the special version, which you can do the Exia repair with, you do get chromed blades with that version, I believe, but not on the standard release of the master grade Exia. So it's very nice that Bandai actually went the extra step for the real grade here and gave you some chromed blades for this, and they actually look really nice on here, and I do really like that here. But yeah, the overall look of the kit is pretty good. I mean, it's got a lot of detail. I'd say it's generally faithful to the line art. Oh, and you also get these, before I forget, these little holographic pieces of plastic. They're in the legs, they're in the shoulder right there. There's actually one in the head too, just some really tiny ones in the head, and there's actually some on the sides of the torso that are really hard to see, but they're actually in there. In addition, you do get some detail inside the GN drive that actually will come out. You can actually take that entire GN drive assembly out, and there's actually a little bit of detail inside of there too. So anyway, yeah, I'll talk about the detail score here. It pretty much gets a 10 out of 10 on the detail here because it looks fantastic, and I really cannot think of any way to improve it visually. So yeah, it's awesome looking. So let's talk about articulation here. Let me take him off the base here. I'm going to talk a little bit about that here. So articulation for most real grades is usually pretty good here, and the Exia is kind of no exception here. You will get full bends out of the arms. I mean, I got this shield on. I'm going to take it off for a second here. Very nice bend out of the arm. There's a little bit of nice wrist movement on here. Arms will go around, of course, obviously. There's a little bit of back and forth movement inside the chest here. That's kind of unique to these 00 kits here. In addition, since the way the torso is shaped, it can kind of turn a little bit back and forth. Let me see if I can show that here. Yeah, it can kind of rotate a little bit back and forth like that. You got some back and forth movement on the waist here and kind of goes around. Head is on a simple ball joint, so it'll go around pretty well here. There's really not much issue here. The thing you gotta watch out for when moving the head around is that these little ears, I guess you want to call them, on the back of the head. These things are separate pieces and they will fall off pretty easily, I've noticed, if you're handling the head. In addition, these little fins on the yellow fins on the side of the head, they can move around, they can fold all the way down if you want them to. Of course, it's kind of hard to get them back up again. There we go. Put that back up. Cockpit hatch will open up like so. Think my light is shine at that. This is probably one of the smallest cockpit hatches I've probably seen on a kit today. Well, for a 144th, this is probably the smallest I've seen here. Very tiny tiny hole there for Setsumu to crawl into. Here. I do want to talk about these shoulders a little bit here because of these little ribbons here on the shoulder here. Sometimes the shoulders will tend to pop off. This side doesn't pop off, but I noticed that the other side does tend to pop off on me. Here, I wonder if I can get that to happen here. Maybe not. But sometimes this will come off like so, then it'll hang off the ribbon. So it'll pop off, but you won't lose it because it's still attached to the arm. So kind of, in addition, there is a little bit of movement in some of these little front frustra here. There's a little bit right there now. Moving on down here, I'll talk about the legs before we get to the hip here. Very nice bend out of the leg. Here, there's a lot of stuff sticking out on this kit at the moment, but nice little part separation along the leg here, especially like the way the knee separates and it kind of slides up and around on this kit. It's very nice. Feet. The feet got a pretty good range of motion here. The toes really small on here, so don't count on this kit trying to balance on its toes. It does a pretty poor job at that. The feet got some decent back and forth on them, so you can actually strike some pretty good poses with this here. The probably only bad part of articulation, I think, and yeah, that shoulder came off right as I'm talking here. Probably only really a slightly disappointing part of articulation here on this guy. Let me take the GM blade off for a second here. I'm trying to demonstrate for you. It's kind of on there really good. There you go. It's probably around this hip area, and as you can see, this thing here, this is the holster for the GM blades right here. This is a section that slides in and out of the hip, and it kind of makes the hip a little weird in the way it's designed, because you can't pull this out if the hip is like angled in any way. It has to be straight like that so you can turn it, but if it's out you can't turn it. And if you want to put this out, you gotta make sure it's straight here, and these are really hard to pull out, I've noticed. But speaking of the hip joint, it's not the best in the real grade I've seen. The skirt armor will flip up, but the leg won't lift up all the way out of that, because it's still kind of restricted there. And it can lift about that high there. So going back, these beam sabers, they move around for grabbing and everything, pretty nice. They get all over the place when you're posing it though, so you have to keep an eye on that. It doesn't bend back that far, but I'm kind of disappointed that the forward bend is not that good on this. And probably move your sword out of the way for a second here. I do want to talk about the back of the GN drive here. There's some neat stuff going on with this back here. There's little clamps can open up on this here. Again, these are a little tricky sometimes to open up. There's 3 of them. You can prop them up, and the GN drive will actually open up a little bit. Like so. You can see the green inside of there. Very nice detail there. So, and these little beam sabers will move too on the side here. So articulation, I'd say, is probably pretty decent for a real grade. There are some hampering in the waist, I'd say, and some pieces will fall off, like the shoulders will fall off sometimes on this. But overall, it's pretty good here. So it gets a score of 8 out of 10 for the articulation from me. So it's not, I mean, it's not bad, but it's good. I definitely dealt with worse in real grades, I'd say. So speaking of extras here, let me talk about the shield here first here. You get this little shield with the Exia here. You can adjust its height a little bit by taking this out and moving this around. It's disappointing that this piece does not rotate around or anything. It won't rotate around on the arm. You know, it's just a fixed piece here, which is kind of disappointing to me. And the shield will adjust itself. I mean, this is the closed form of it, and you pull these out and kind of make the opened up form of the shield, which honestly, I don't think it makes any difference whether it's open or closed. It's about the same. I think this is probably one of the most redundant transforming shields I have probably ever seen. So I don't think it really makes any difference whether it's open or closed to me. Let's talk about the GM blades here, because they're pretty nice. If I can get the other one off. Okay, you get a short one, chrome blade, nice little handle on it, and you get a long one, chrome blade, again, a nice little handle on. These are pretty nice weapons. They can fit into the triggered, the little fixed grip hands pretty well here. The only problem is that these do not have any sort of attachment pegs on them, so they will hold. They do tend to just kind of hang loose inside the hands. So that's not something I particularly like. I think, man, they really should have incorporated some sort of attachment peg onto these things so that they would be held a little bit better. So, in addition to that, you do have beam sabers. You do get blades for short and long blades, and you do get a pair of beam sabers with the pegs in them so they can be held securely here. In addition to the 4 beam sabers you have on the back of the Exia. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the back of the Exia there. So, and probably the biggest accessory is the GN sword, which I have on the Exia right now. It basically use the fixed grip hand on the handle of it, and the small shield part of it will plug into the forearm right here. And this is on a ball joint. It will kind of move around a little bit here, so there's a little bit of give on it. In addition, there's a little joint up in here, so the shield will kind of move around a little bit, so you can kind of adjust it so it's not really hard fixed into there. So you can it's got a little bit of play in it, which is I think it's pretty good here to have some play in that. Right now it's in the beam gun mode, which is okay. It's okay looking. You have kind of a square hole for the beam gun, which is kind of odd. I see it as a round beam gun hole on all the other kits here. But the sword will flip forward just like so. And the shoulder came off again on me. Get on there. Stay put. And this is a very nice weapon. The Exia has no problem holding this in any pose. It's not heavy. It's got to keep the blade straight. I think that's the biggest challenge on it. But as big as this is, the kit has no problem holding it. It's a very strong connection on here. So you can strike out some pretty impressive poses with this here. Keep him standing. Oh, he kind of drooped just a little bit there, but generally most of the time he'll hold the pose with the sword in there. Other than that, you do get your hands. I have both of the fixed fist hands on the kit at the moment here. You do get your RG hands, which are these right here, the movable hands. They can hold the beam sabers pretty well here, so you might use those for the beam sabers. You do get these open hands. They're kind of like claw hands. You can kind of see right there, but yeah, not exactly relaxed pose hands, but I mean you get some open hands with this. And you do get some fists here, which are just fist. That's it. They're fist. And an action base connector if you want on action base. You don't have to have an action base for the Exia. I mean, it's kind of an optional thing. It stands up pretty well on its own. In addition to that, you do get an extra V-fin with the Exia kit. So if you want to, you can kind of paint this up or just keep it as a spare if you want. I painted mine up in yellow and red to kind of look like a traditional Gundam V-fin. But so yeah, you do get an extra part with this. But yeah, that's it for the extras here. So they're pretty good. Except for the GN blades, I'd probably say should probably have a peg, and the shield is not that impressive. So it gets a 9 out of 10 on the extras here, so pretty good. So let's get you. Let me get him in a nice pose, and we'll talk about value here. Okay, and I'm back here, and I have Exia kind of trying to hold his GN sword over his shoulder as if he's some sort of giant sword wielding dude. But anyway, it's an okay pose here. So anyway, talking about the value of this kit here. This is a 2,500 yen kit, which goes for about $21 in exchange rates. You can probably expect to find it for 25 or more than that. I mean, and this is a 2014 release. It was April 2014 when this kit came out. I'm pretty sure it probably turned a lot of heads when it came out. Since I started getting back into Gunpla the year after that in 2015, so just a little bit late on this one here, but pretty much what you get here, you get a very nice looking kit here. You get chromed parts on this kit here. You get there's some nice variation of extras on this kit here. Swords especially if you like swords like I do. I mean, you're probably gonna love this kit here. So $21, $25 is actually a pretty good price for a kit, I would say, like this, especially for a real grade. So it gets a 10 out of 10 on the value score from me. So if you're interested, pick it up. I mean, there's really no reason not to. I mean, it's a great little kit, I'd say, and it's not really a particularly complicated build. Probably the only tricky thing is making sure those little plastic ribbon pieces are all hooked up properly, because I know the ones in the arms you have to kind of wrap around inside of the shoulder and then kind of clip it in on the side here, but the other ones just sort of pop right into place here on it. So, but total score for this kit is going to be a 37 out of 40, which makes it a pretty good kit overall here. So like I said, if you have thought about this kit, pick it up. It's pretty good. So not a whole lot else to say about that, but it's the Exia. I mean, it's in some situations I kind of prefer the look of the Exia to the 00 Gundam. I just think it looks a little bit more rugged and a little bit more aggressive, I'd say, than the 00 Gundam was. But it's kind of to each their own, I'd say. But anyway, that's going to be it for this review. I hope you found it informative and entertaining, and maybe it convinced you to maybe check this kit out sometime. More reviews are going to be coming, so be sure to keep an eye on my channel, and if you want to stay ahead of the press, you can always subscribe. That way you can know when my new videos come out. Leave a like if you liked, and I will hope you guys have a great day, and I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.